we are going to perform an experiment in which we are going to study the detailed structure of human eye with the help of a model or a chart. So since this is a video, I am going to use a chart here. The material needed is, you can either use a model or you can use a chart of the human eye. So this is the diagram of a human eye. You can say it's the chart of a human eye, and these are the various parts of the human eye. Let's try and understand the working of each of these parts in detail. This is the outermost part of the eye. We call it the cornea. It is basically a protective cap around the eye. Just behind the cornea, we have the pupil, which is this hole in the eye. You can say it's a kind of a hole, which is controlled, the size of the pupil is controlled by the iris. So what does the iris do? The iris is this part. This part of the eye, this is the iris. So whenever we are in bright light, the iris comes forward like this and makes the pupil smaller, so that the amount of eye that enters our eye is less. And whenever we are in dim light, the iris recedes back, and as it recedes back, the size of the pupil becomes bigger, enabling more light to enter our eye. So that is how the iris and the pupil, they coordinate with each other and control the amount of light that enters our eye. Just behind the pupil, we have the eye lens. So this is the eye lens, this part. This structure that you can see here, this is the eye lens, and it is a convex lens. You can see it's thicker in the middle and narrow at the edges, and this is the lens which helps in the formation of image somewhere over here, that is on the retina. Now this part, this is the ciliary body. This part and this part. On both the sides, the ciliary body is present, and from the ciliary body, the ciliary muscles extend till the eye lens and help in changing the focal length of the eye lens. Like whenever we have to look at a distant object, the focal length of the eye needs to change, and whenever we have to look at a nearby object, in that case also the focal length needs to be somewhat different. So it is this ciliary muscles which actually control the flexibility of the lens, or you can say they help in changing the focal length of this lens. Then talking about some more parts. As the light rays, they enter the eye through the cornea, pupil, lens, and then they reach the retina. This is the retina, the innermost part of the eyeball. This structure that you can see here, this is the retina, and the retina is made up of light sensitive cells. We call them the rod cells and the cone cells. The rod cells, they help you in sensing the brightness of light, and the cone cells, they help you in judging the colors, different colors. So people who are colorblind, they are colorblind because they have a comparatively lesser number of cone cells in their eyes, due to which they are not able to distinguish between similar colors. So this is the retina. It is the most important part of the eye because this is where the image is formed. Now on the retina, there are parts like you can see here. This part has been labeled as the fovea centralis. Fovea centralis is that spot where there are maximum number of rod and cone cells. It's also known as the yellow spot, and the image formed here is the clearest of all. That means if you have to have a look at the absolutely clear image of any particular object, it should ideally be formed on the fovea centralis. Similarly, there's another spot here which is this. This is also known as the optic disc, or it's also known as the blind spot. So the blind spot is that spot where there are no light sensitive cells, and if the image is formed here, the person will not be able to see it, and that is the reason why it is known as the blind spot. Then moving ahead, this is the optic nerve. So this nerve that you can see here, this is the nerve that connects our eyeball to the brain, and then the brain, actually the image that's formed here is transmitted to the brain through this optic nerve, and then the brain helps you understand what kind of an object you are looking at. So this is how the eye works. Then outside the retina, there are two more layers. We call it the sclera and the choroid. So sclera is the white outermost layer of the shell of the eyeball, like this. This is the sclera. It is tough, it is white in color, and the choroid is the middle layer. In between the retina and the sclera, we have the choroid. So what the choroid does is that it's dark in color. It prevents internal reflections from taking place inside the eyeball, enabling us to have a clear vision. Plus, it also provides a rich blood supply to the various parts of the eye. So this is the structure of the human eye. I hope you've understood it well.